Right, so let me get my screens and stuff up here.
And Adija, as usual, I'll keep up with your breaks and any kind of announcements. I'll put them in the chat.
All right, share real quick. All righty, so everybody can see me right now. Put this up here. All right. So today we're gonna, if you're looking at up the slides and stuff, just brought it to the slides where we're at right now. I'm not gonna spend too much time on these two slides because for the most part, we kind of talked about some of this stuff yesterday when we was going over the GUI interface. We'll kind of look at some things, kind of walk through, especially like creating a profile, because you'll do that as your lab. That'd be lab one, and doing the OI graph and the TCP stream and flow graph and stuff. You'll do those as your two labs this morning. This afternoon, we're going to go over, and we'll do this morning also, to going over the CLI. So we'll go over the GUI, the CLI, some of those commands. Mostly going to look at dump cap and um, T-sharp. We'll talk about edit cap a little bit. I was supposed to add a slide with merge cap, but we'll just talk about it. For the most part, like I was saying yesterday, slides are more or less, I would say really more or less for me, just so I can kind of make sure that I'm going over everything I need to go over. So this morning we'll go over just digging into just using Wireshark a little bit more. But I really just want to go through a little because we're going to use GNS 3 this afternoon. So I want to make sure everybody gets set up as far as getting just a little simple little network set up. So we'll get logged into our lab PCs and stuff, and that should basically take care of us for this morning. And then this afternoon we'll look at spinning a port. We'll have a lab on that, and then we'll talk about doing a tap and mirroring as far as mirroring ports and display filters and everything. So let me just go back up here and let me just pull up so we can see it better with our lab guide. That's what I should have brought up. Okay, hold on. Workshop guide. Okay, and just maximize this a little bit. All right, so of course we went over this stuff here yesterday. So today, like I said, we're going to kind of breeze through the traffic of GUI, the GUI tool stuff. We went through some of that stuff yesterday. I just re-walked through it a little bit, especially with creating a profile, marking timeframes. I'll show you how to do that. We're not going to necessarily do it because, and for the most part, your purpose of doing that will be something that you want to actually be trying. You're gonna do it for basically a reason, but I'll show you how to basically do it. It's pretty simple to do, but we'll just go through that. We'll walk through as far as the IO graphs and stuff again. Definitely go talk about capturing through the CLI. Mostly we'll talk about dump cap and T-sharp. Just talk a little bit, because you have a lab on these two here. Talk about edit cap and merge cap and why you will use them, as you see here. And like I said, this afternoon, we'll go over taps and spans and going over filters and everything. What's not on here that, like I was saying earlier, we would go and look into our lab PCs. We'll basically set up a little small little network so we can actually capture some traffic and everything, especially when we're doing the span port. I have a little Cisco switch and everything that you can use, everything so we can walk through actually dealing with the port mirroring. And around about that time, that should take us right along lunch, and then we'll actually get into the discussions for um, filters and ports expanding our taps and everything. Um, so let me minimize this and I'm just gonna pull on Moodle real quick. I still got to drop Lab 4 inside of Moodle. You don't necessarily log into Moodle right now. It's no big deal to log into it now if you have not. But I will drop Lab 4. Lab 4 is not gonna be that big of a deal anyway. Just gonna be playing around with some display filters and capture filters and everything. But I'll put them in here. And then of course, end of the day, we'll basically do a little knowledge check and of course feedback. But like I said, if you're not in Moodle right now, don't worry about it. You don't have to be. We won't need Moodle this morning. We would just make sure that you still have the viewer that you did from remote utilities yesterday. Make sure you still have that. Make sure your machine is basically still there and everything. But we'll revisit it when we get ready to do the lab and everything. So just wanted to kind of give an overview of what we'll be doing today. So get my Wireshark going. All right, click on this over here. Now, like we was talking about yesterday, just pull up the slide just real quick. We kind of went through some things as far as editing functionality, as far as creating a profile and everything. But one other thing we didn't necessarily go over as far as when you want to mark a packet or you want to like change like time frames and stuff as far as a packet. Pretty simple to do. Just create some TCP traffic real quick. Um, that should have got me something. Let's just do, let's stop it. Just do TCP. And you don't necessarily do with TCP. I'm just choosing that as a um as a packet, as a protocol to basically do. But you could just come here, and if you want to like mark a packet and everything, I mean it's fairly simple to do. You could just right click on it, and then like you can mark it to wherever you basically want to be. And the point of this is that if you're trying to you're analyzing something and you want to basically say, okay, this packet look a little weird to me. There's something going on here, but I want to look at some other things to basically to verify. So I come down and look at some other packets or whatever. So when I get ready to come back to it, it's just easier for you to find it. It just keeps you from having to just search through it. Which packet that was that I was looking at before. You go ahead and mark it like that, then you know easily come back to it. For the most part, I mean you can use it. I'll be honest with you. For me, I haven't or I don't use that too often. That's just more or less the use case for it. I mean, after you do your filter and looking at your filters and stuff, and as we looked at yesterday as far as doing conversations, I mean that would kind of take away the need for that because you will see the packets and stuff that you're dealing with. But like I said, a good use case for it is just say I'm just scrolling through and everything, and just say I'm even though I got right now, I had like 12,000 packages just went through. I'm looking at 809 right now. So let's say I'm all the way down at the bottom or whatever, and I'm trying to go through. And if this packet wasn't marked, and let me just unmark it real quick and just choose some random packet real quick. So if I'm up here and everything, and I'm just trying to find it, it's a little hard for me to try to figure out. So which packet was that? So if I have it marked, oh, there you go, right there. That's basically the real use case that you'll basically do that. As far as doing time, go back to my. So I'm not saying the wrong thing. Not that. As far as like doing it with the time frames and stuff like that, you can just basically right click. Um, as far as like time shifts, you could choose or what type of packet, shift all your packets by as far as whatever time what you want them to go to. You can go in, and as you see the format here, you can pick and choose um, um, which packets that you want to basically shift to a certain particular time. Each one of these you can choose. You can be basically all your packets. You can choose which packets that you want to, as you see here, packet 3900 to whatever. And then once you want to undo that, you can just, of course, undo it. I didn't necessarily choose anything. Don't necessarily worry about it. Another thing you could do with a packet, um, colorize like your conversations. I don't like to use this too often, and mainly because of the fact that, you know, for instance, I'll just show you here. So it basically colors everything on here. I don't like that particular feature as far as Wireshark is concerned. And the thing is, like I said, these things that I'm showing you, I'm just, as far as I'm concerned, I don't necessarily use too much because after you use like some of your conversations, some of your other little just statistical ways to just analyze your packets, these are more or less, I guess you could say, placeholders or whatever. If you're going through packets and everything and you want something to go through to kind of see, refer you back to where you was at. As far as the type of packet comments, Say for instance, this particular packet, I can say weird traffic or um, potential um, attacker, say 52 10966. I could just put a comment or whatever in here. So that way that'll kind of, so if I'm going through my analysis or whatever, I can basically look at that. And it's also great also for if you're giving your capture to someone else or whatever, and they kind of like, okay, what are you looking for? You may think it's something, but you can't really verify. So you just want a second opinion or whatever. So you could just put in a comment, hey, I think just do, hey, I think this is an attacker. And then once the person that you basically give it to, spell it right a little bit. Give it to, they can kind of look at and just maybe verify that for you. If they want to, when they send it back to you, they can put in another comment and everything. So that's more or less your use case that you'll basically use that for. Again, I mean, as far as practicality or how much I would say me myself, I've used it. I don't necessarily use it. If I basically want to, if I'm going to give my trace to somebody else in the email, I say, hey, check out packet 3900. I think some fishy um, 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 information is basically going on there. Check it out for me. So, but like I said, those features are basically there for you to use. But like I said, I personally have not used it too often. Another thing that I wanted you to look at, we kind of looked at yesterday, that was show, I was showing you where you can easily go to TCP stream and look at it if you got any information and stuff and everything like that. And one of the things I wanted you to see here, see how I said, even though this is encrypted traffic, if you look in here, you can still see. So for me, I mean, I can say, okay, well, Office something was used within this packet and everything. Maybe using the Microsoft 365, O365, something. And this is a thing that you pretty much want to be aware of, I guess, in the sense of dealing with websites and everything like that. As we saw yesterday, all that whole packet was basically encrypted. We couldn't see any plain text information. But if you see right here, see how this HTTP, and the reason for that, because within this whole website, some of the pages inside that website are not encrypted or not not protected by TLS. So this particular page or this folder on this server here basically is in plain text. And the reason I say you want to be careful with that is because of the fact that me as an attacker, if I'm trying to look for clues or whatever to try to attack you, even though you may think that all your stuff is confidential, most of it for the most part is. I can't hardly see anything in here, but if I'm looking at, okay, well, I know you're using Office app, so chances are you're using Microsoft something. More than likely, it used to be O365, but Microsoft just changed it to Microsoft 365 now. So most of all their stuff pretty much run through that particular marketing name. So I know that you're using um, Microsoft 365. I can do a quick search, look to see if there are any vulnerabilities, any remote type of attacks that I can basically use to maybe um, basically be a breadcrumb where I can use to attack you later. Also, I can see who's your CA, so who getting certificates and stuff from. So Microsoft, we assume that Microsoft is a pretty secure CA, but like I said, you can look up and see if Microsoft had any problems with their certificates. What about maybe 5, 10 years ago, DigiNotar was a CA that people got a lot of certificates and stuff from and everything, and those certificates end up being bad certificates. So we got the chat. Oh, that's somebody else. Okay, my bad. But could have got it from people was getting those certs, or right now at this point, digital notar certs should be revoked, so nobody should be using those. But if I happen to see this and see that you was using digital notar, that can give me something that basically I can start from. Not just having this information, does that allow me to do whatever it is I need to do? No, but it could be a breadcrumb for me. But the main thing you want to take from this is that, especially even in your workplace or whatever, you have your web servers or whatever your environment. Just be aware that every page on that server or on that website needs to be encrypted. And like I said, sometimes you'll go to websites, and I know Google is good for it, but Firefox will tell you sometimes too that this particular website is not totally secure. It'll let you go to it and everything, but it'll just take the main reason for that is because some pages on that website is not encrypted. And this is basically give you some proof of that and everything. But I just wanted you to see one that you can go to TCP stream another way, but also realize that sometimes you go to some sites and all of it is not necessarily encrypted. All right. And then like I said, you'll have a lab on doing profiles, but I just wanted to try to go through just again. So you just go to edit, you go to profiles, and the thing that you want to do to create your profile, you can just click on plus sign. I'm gonna put my name just so you can know that it's me. And then I click OK. And And from there, it's going to start you over. And what you want to see to want to make sure what profile that you're in, you can look in this left corner over here and see that it's under your name. So once you're in your profile, now you can go through and then you can start to change the preferences. So your lab and will basically have you redoing this and everything. But a quick thing to do is you can look at your columns. Maybe you want to have different columns and everything that you want to look at as far as your lab or whatever is concerned. What I'm gonna have you do is you just come here, you can just click on plus, and so far by default, I can see my IP source address, my IP destination address, or the IP address for my destination. But let's just say I want a quick way to see my MAC addresses. Well, you can just click the plus sign. Well, I did it twice, but you could double click here, and let's just say this will be source Mac. And of course, this arbitrary, you can name it whatever you want to name it, but but you want to put something that it'd be easy for you to know what it is. Then you want to double click on this. This will give you a drop down menu here. Then you click this, and then you want to just find the MAC address, um, your filter for that. So you want to find hardware. So for source, so I want to do hardware, which is basically your MAC address. Want to choose that, and this is already chose the second column. Go ahead and change that. So I'm gonna say destination MAC, and then you can click out of it. And then again, you want to double click so you can be able to get to your options. Click on this, and then you just want to find hardware. There we go. Nope, that's not it right here. So we should have both of the so once I click OK, I should get both of those columns. And let's just check the chat real quick. So chat. Okay. All right. So for the most part, if you just saw Mike was asking about if you all was following me, they're gonna have a lab on this one right here, Mike. So I'm just walking through just real quick, just explaining, but they're gonna have a lab too, so it's gonna give them a step by step for this here. All right. So basically, once you have that, you could just click OK. And what you have to pay attention to is sometimes it'd be, let me just move this down a little bit. And snap it and then move it a little bit. All right. Well, what you have to do is you got to move over so you can see it. All right. Well, the best thing to do is just, of course, just move it over a little bit. All right. So that way you can easily see the MAC address for both of those. Now, if you notice in here, you see how they have like the name and everything instead of the full MAC address. Well, Wireshark would do for you is that the first 6 bytes, and everything, or the first part of this, or the first half of your MAC address is basically the manufacturer. So Wireshark, for the most part, will dissect or parse the manufacturer of those of the NIC cards or whatever interface that you're basically using. So for me, for this particular interface here, which is my computer, it's an Intel Corporation um, interface. And then of course I'm going through my, go here. Okay, my bad. All right. So right here, this is going to be my through my gateway or through my wireless AP point. Now, what you have to understand as far as your MAC addresses, even though you see here that this is a destination, this MAC address is not the MAC address for the destination I'm going to. This MAC address is for my, normally be your gateway, be the router, or be whatever basically allows you in and out of your network. So in my case, it's my AP, my wireless AP. So this is the AP. So I'm using Euro as my way in and out as my AP or my wireless AP. So this is not even my router from going in and out mine for my ISP. So basically, the first place I hit when I get ready to leave out of my local network, that's the MAC address I'm going to see. I'm not going to see all of the other as far as, for instance, just say, let's just do a trace route real quick. And definitely slow me down if I'm going too fast. I know Mike was asking earlier, but the only reason why I went through the profiles as quickly as I did, mainly because of the fact your lab is going to be based on that. But other stuff definitely get with me. I mean, slow me down if I go too fast. So let's say 52 1. I think that is a 109, and that's what 6. All right. So I'm gonna do a trace route here. And as it go through and everything, you should see a lot of other hops and stuff. So basically, it's going through. This is my let me just say my gateway, and then this is my wireless network. This is right here is my where my router is basically on here. So then so from here it's gonna start to go out. So I should maybe hit my DNS or something like that. Request timeout don't normally mean that you didn't hit whatever you're going to. That's normally just mean that normally that is probably the firewall or something like that. Basically, when you get request timeout is not normally something that I would say that's bad in the sense of it's not there. Now, if it stops there, then you don't go any further, then okay, that could be a potential problem. But if you keep going, chances are some type of firewall or whatever is blocking that particular as far as that hop is concerned. So right now, what it's doing is just going through. So of course, as you can see, Knowledge is my ISP. So it's going through a lot of knowledges or wows servers before we even actually go out to all that other stuff. But the point I wanted to make was that this MAC address that you see here is actually the MAC address that you see here, and not the MAC address that's for my destination. So that's something you want to be aware of as far as when you are looking at your MAC addresses as far as destination and as far as the source. Now the source, of course, will be me as far as the MAC address, but just something to basically be aware of. We don't necessarily watch this all the way through. But just as far as the profile is concerned, that's a quick way to kind of see that. Now, of course, you can see it down here, see the same information down here. But like I was saying yesterday, sometimes, just seeing just the packet, just give you a quick view of things that you want to see in your list pane. So if you want to see it here instead of to go through and drill down, this is a good place to basically put it at. Now, as far as doing your profiles and stuff and everything like that, you can make it be whatever you want. I mean, you can choose whatever column that you want. And if you want to change your profile, let's just click cancel, go back to edit, go back here, and say I want to go back to default. You can just click OK, and then you can see that those columns basically disappear. So you can switch between profiles. You can go back and forwards and everything. So depending on, say, for instance, you wear multiple hats in your environment. Say one hat you basically are a security analyst, one hat you basically the network engineer, a systems engineer, or administrator. So basically, you're gonna be looking for different things depending on which hat that you're basically wearing. So you can easily just come here and, like I said, go to your configuration profiles and then choose what you're looking for. Or just say you do have a wireless card, or you have the air PCAP driver and everything, and you only want to look at the wireless stuff. You don't care about all the other columns that we basically have here. You can easily choose whatever other profile that you want to use. So I'm gonna go back to one that I was on. So you can see how easy it is for you to basically switch through the two. So let's go back to here. So and then the same thing as far as as far as dealing with functionality is concerned. You can pretty much throw that under the same boat as far as dealing with your preferences and everything. You can come here as far as like dealing with your filter buttons, which buttons that you want to basically use. As far as labels, it's not giving me what I'm looking for. Let's take this away. But the point is basically I was trying to show you here. I have to go back and look to see why it didn't pop up to give me any choices. But you could choose what type. If I want to choose a button, click on a button, label it, and then I can have what filter is basically going to give me. I don't know why. Okay, let's just do just using as an example. Should have gave me oh, there we go. All right, let's just say IP, and then I could put whatever comment. I just say test IP. So what this will do for you is that if you say for instance you want to go to a certain, if I want to put in a quick filter or whatever, it's to create a button for you that you could just press and everything, and it'll automatically enter this particular button for you. And I just click OK and see if we find our button. Where did you go, buddy? Let's go back to our thing here. Preferences, filter button. Missed it. I was kind of go back and look. But the point I want to just show is that you can. Got to look to see where it actually lands at. But once
check the mark.
Check the box.
Yeah, check the box, the toolbar box. So
There you go.
get
I was just testing y'all. That's all I was doing. I was just making sure. All right, I didn't see it pop up. Should have popped up.
Maybe in the tools.
It should have been up here. That's good.
It's all the way to the right. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, right there.
Oh, there we go. There we go. Yeah. So you click on that, and of course I don't have this as my what you call. So let's just put something that's more realistic so you can see it. Let's go back. Let's kill this. And let's go back to our, so I'm just put something that's a little bit more realistic. Let's go back to our buttons, and I'm going to put my IP address here. Or let's put this IP address right there instead of mine. Of course, because you know I got traffic in here. So let's do 198. Dot 251. 137 and 200. Okay, so that's my filter button there. So basically, if I just want to see it, then I just see only the traffic for that particular filter. So as far as like dealing with functionality, you could do several different things. Of course, like I say, you want to go inside of your preferences, and like I said, it's more or less you. What you basically want to do as far as what you're looking for. as far as if you want to change the functionality as far as your expert info. As far as was looking at it yesterday, like warnings was like yellow, red could be an issue. Black basically was for errors and everything. You can come in, you can change what those things are. I would say, like I said, before you start doing that type of stuff and everything, just kind of get used to what the default says and everything, because it's fairly decent. It'll help you out. But as you start to use it more and more, you can come in and just start to make it, use it more or less to your usability and everything. So that's kill that. All right. So just before I go on to the graphs, anybody have any questions, comments, or anything to basically to add? Yes, no. Okay. So another thing that you basically can do, let me kill this. As far as your graphs and everything, of course, you can use like your IO graph, your flow graph, and your TCP graphs. And basically, what really all of these things are really good for is really if you just want to get a more, I guess you can say, a picture or visual of what's going on inside of your environment. And if you look at this right here, it's basically going to give you as far as let's see if I can maximize this. And if I didn't make it any easier to see. But as far as your Y and your X axis and everything, it'll tell you basically what you're looking at. As far as here, you're looking at your packets per second. So how many packets that you have going through per second. Down here is the time frame that you basically get here. Now you can change what each one of these things basically tell you, what type of style or whatever you want it to be. Say for instance here, I want this to be my y-axis to be bytes. I mean, I could basically choose that. So basically, as you see here, the bytes and stuff basically change. Basically here's for my bar. If I want to change it and say, I'll do bytes again. Let's choose, let's just say bits for this one here. Just, you can make it be whatever you this is my TCP. That didn't change. The TCP analysis. I don't want it to be packets. I just really just want you to see that that's my, oh, I'm crazy. Pay no attention to me. That's wrong. Why? I'm still in the same one. So let's do bits for that. So that's my bits. And then my Y. So for my TCP errors, and what I like to do is just kind of like take out all the packets so I can see my errors. What you can do also is you can like go to Zoom and say, for instance, here I want to zoom into this particular part here. Of course, there's not much really going on here. I don't have that much going on as far as my traffic and stuff is going. But let's just say if we do this here and move this down a little bit. Let's reset everything. And let's just say I want to zoom in to say just a little certain part. So I can get a little bit more granular as far as what's actually going on in packet as far as where is it. If for instance, for me, because you see I wear glasses, it's a little bit harder for me to see and everything. If I want to zoom in and try to get the exact value of this particular, what this graph is basically telling me, I can zoom in a little bit more into that particular packet. But what I want you to see here is just basically you could play around as far as dealing with different type of um, ways to basically deal with your traffic here. Then here, as like I said, is just when you start to deal with the display filters or whatever, and then you can kind of know what type of filters that you want to put in here. Let's just say, I just do that's just IP for right now. And if I want to see what's going on as far as IP stuff, basically I could change that. And of course, now you want it to match the name that you want. So you come in here and I just say IP and everything. So basically these are IP addresses, or this is basically what's going with time. And I would say you probably want to have this set in a way where you something that you understand. So you can go through and probably want to look at this as far as packets are concerned. So these are the packets I actually got coming through and everything, the time frame in seconds down here. They actually going through. So how many packets that I have coming, IP packets that I've got coming through at this particular time frame here. So main thing you want to look at, if you want, of course, want to add any other type of graphs or that you want to look at, you can always just come down, do plus, and just choose wherever you want to you want it to be. You can choose different styles that you want. Let's say we want to do dot on this one here. And this is just more all packets here. Let's just say I want this to be, let's just choose some, let's specify the name, then put, let's just say TCP here, just a simple thing here. Probably won't get too much here. So the main thing is do a reset. So the thing, so basically if I had in the TCP, the summation of my TCPs, probably want to do, let's try to do the average, or let's look at the load. That one, didn't mean to do that. Let's go back. Battleground. All right. So the thing is, I don't have much traffic really to basically show to show like the load that I'm basically having for TCP and everything. But the point I want you to see here is that you can come in, you can add different type of filters, which basically type of traffic you want to see. And what this is going to do for you is for you just give a more visual of what's going on in your environment. You can pick and choose what you want to filter out, what you want to look at, so on and so forth. And the main thing, like I said, is on drag. It just allows you to just drag your information and everything, so you can see how you how far you want to go down as far as your information is concerned. And then, like I said, you can click on the zoom to kind of zoom in directly into a part of the graph. All right, so let's close that one. Let's look at our flow graph. Now, dealing with the flow graph, this is more or less, like I said, it's kind of this. I would like to say it on steroids, but for the most part, what I like about this to a certain extent is that it kind of give you more of a line view, or a way to kind of see what's going on inside of your packet. Say, for instance, at packet 61,222, just basically just show me the length of one of my UDP packets. So just show me from this computer to this computer. This is what I got, and this is over here showing you. Let me see if I can move this over some. So it's just basically just having you going through each one of your packets. Now, of course, at this particular time, nothing else was going on. So it's only showing you at the time frame what went on at that particular time. I was trying to see, you can see where it can go a little bit further. Let me try this on if I can find some HTTP traffic. Oh, there we go. That's what I'm looking for. So here you can see at this particular time, you didn't get anything from this particular computer or this endpoint to this endpoint. You had something from my interface, and basically I sent out an ART request out looking for, trying to basically fill up my ART table. So I was looking for the MAC address for this particular computer here. So it to basically just show you, tells you that here. So like I said, for the most part, you can kind of see some of that stuff here, but it just gives you another way to view information inside of your environment and everything. So you can just see the flow of the traffic inside your environment at certain time periods. All right, and then when you look at your TCP string graphs, I mean, one of the best one I can use is basically round time trip. And basically what you want to see here is from this particular IP address to this IP address and everything, as far as the time it took for me to get from one end to the next. You can see right here, which that is milliseconds. So as I went through as far as time, so basically just say 5 seconds in, my round trip basically was at this particular, well, 5 seconds, my round trip was 40, it was about 41, 42 milliseconds at 5 seconds. So basically, as I was talking to this particular computer here, it took this amount of time, or in this case, it took this amount of time for me to actually go through. Now, this is important to you in the sense if you're um, um, trying to investigate latency in your particular in your environment, trying to see if it's basically something in your environment itself, or you're trying to see if it's just something with that particular endpoint. In this case, this particular computer was coming from, this is me somewhere out on the internet coming to me. If you want to see from me to that particular endpoint, what you can do is you can come down here and you can just switch the directions. So now it's me going to, and it's more like some web server because the 443. So I'm going to somewhere else. So still looking at the time from the packet getting from me at certain time increments, how long it took for me to basically make a round trip. So let's just say if it was, just say in this case it's about 88. So basically 44 milliseconds to him or to it, and then 44 milliseconds back. And that's just saying we just splitting the time. It could have took me shorter to get there, took more time for it to get back, but just basically you're looking at that as all the way there and then basically all the way back. And then if you want to look at like the sequence numbers and stuff like that, you can kind of see what sequence number was sent between as far as your session and stuff was concerned, before you basically maintain your session. Another thing you can do is you could choose, you can switch from packet or streams that you go into from one machine to the next by clicking on the stream here. And if you pick up, go up, and you can see that the IP addresses just changed, and what you should see, the graph is changing. So basically from another website to my computer, time was of course shorter. Now I'm of course looking at the sequence numbers here, but you want to take that away. And if you want to see as far as time, then it's basically, like I said, in seconds. Round trip as far as, so 1 millisecond, basically by the time I got to the 4-second mark. So round trip back and forth. If you want to change another stream, so you can basically choose different streams. So some streams are of course gonna, because it's just your computer just talking to different machines within your network or outside your network. Of course, most of my stuff, as you see here, by looking at the port there, of course, this is my computer. This is communication between my computer and other computers out on the internet. But the point is, you can just kind of come here, and you can see that that your traffic line and everything should change. Okay, well, nothing really there. All right, and then a good thing that you can do too, you can kind of see where the destination, where the source was an outside IP address, and then the time it took for it to get to me. So you can look at this as far as download, looking at downloading and stuff like that. But I also can switch as far as me actually going up to that particular computer. So I really didn't get into data to at the, well, probably right at the 0 mark as far as this is concerned, as far as my 0 seconds. So for the most part, like I said, you just can go through these and just kind of switch around as far as which stream or which packet that you're basically dealing with. All right, and then of course the same as the we saw in our IO graph, you can still choose as far as zoom if you want to zoom in, stuff like that. And this is the zooming is really important when you when you have errors, you have TCP retransmissions and stuff like that. You can kind of drill down a little bit deeper to kind of get the exact time and everything on, like we was doing with the sequence number, at what sequence and everything, if there's any problems that you basically have. And that could be important, especially dealing with the sequence number. There are ways where attackers will try to guess what your sequence number, whatever it is. If you see some type of retransmission or whatever, you probably could drill down into that particular packet and see if the communication between the outside computer and your computer, you can see if the MAC addresses will ever change. Because if somebody hijacked your session or whatever, if for however they basically did it, I mean, they have software out there that can basically try to guess your sequence number, and if you can get in the middle of that, you can hijack somebody's session and everything. So that could be something you can kind of drill down into. Look at your information as far as your IP address and MAC address, and then you can come back to kind of see, okay, what was the MAC address of my computer or the computer that you was basically talking to. And if that changed in any kind of way, then that could be something you can basically want to investigate, see why and everything, and look a little bit deeper as far as what we was looking at yesterday as far as our mapping is concerned. Try to get an understanding of where the attack is originating from. And you also can choose other types of information that you want to look at as far as throughput. We looked at real time, as far as time and sequence, TCP with the TCP trace, and then you want to look at your window scaling and everything. So you can choose different ways to look at this. I'll say this is definitely like for my network engineers, this stuff will definitely be more important to you and everything as far as trying to get an understanding of how traffic is traversing across through your network. For me, I mean, this is not that big of a deal for me. Like I said, I'm not necessarily a network engineer. My background is more in system administration and automation. But for you guys, for your networking guys, this could be very, very important to you as far as dealing with trying to figure out latency. If you're having any problems with packets and stuff going back and forth across your internet, not the internet, but your network. So we're gonna close that. All right. So I think we looked at all of our graphs at this point. So okay, that's good. So all right, now any questions as far as that is concerned? Anything like that? All right, so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna do our first, well, you all gonna do the first lab. So what you wanna do, let me pull this up. And I'm gonna drop this link just in case you forgot it. Copy and drop it in the chat. Everyone, paste. All right, so you can go there, log in with your information from yesterday. And once you get in there, you wanna go to lab 1. And you can click on lab 1. If it gets you to pop up, it should basically take you straight to where you can download the document. You can just open it if you want to, and it should open it up. So you should see something that looks something like this here. And basically just go through the labs through here. For here, as far as the questions concerned, I mean, you ain't getting graded on any of this stuff here, but try to answer the questions and everything that you do your analysis and everything. No right or wrong. I'm not gonna necessarily even check it to tell you if you're right or wrong, but just for the most part, hopefully if it bring up any questions, anything, definitely ask and we can go a little bit deeper down into the discussion. Because for the most part, one of the things I do want you to see here, of course, we did this one this morning. Just go through this again on your own. This was the one for the mapping of yesterday when we was going through the GeoIP. Just want you to do that again. And now that I think about it, I did forget to put the database. I dropped the database. While you're doing this part here, I dropped the database in a shared folder. And when you go to your environment, so let's just do this back. Right now, let's do this. Everybody, just go ahead and go to, let's minimize this. Let's go to, let me close this, quit without saving, minimize this, and go to your viewer right here. So you want to do this on in your lab computer. Like I said yesterday, if you left this in, you didn't delete it or whatever, you should still see the computer that you logged into yesterday. And all you have to do is just double click on it. All right, and like I said, password is going to be password 1. All right, so just give it a little bit for it to come up. All right, so at this point, you should see the lab. Then, of course, I should go into Wireshark. Let me see if I can remote into this computer real quick. I'm not going to be able to, so let's just do this. Let me go ahead. Let me log into my MaxMind. Forgot to move the file, so let's just go here and go here. And log in real quick. Just bear with me. All right. And this is good for you anyway, too. So you can kind of see this. Of course, once you create your account, you have your account. And what you want to do is go here. You want to download the database. And you want the GeoLite 2 ASN. You want to download it. I'm going to save it. You can go to my downloads. It's fine. Then you want to go to your Light 2 City. Download, save. And then you want to go to the country. So good. So I should have all 3 of those now. Let's go to downloads. And what I'm gonna do is just create a share on this computer up here. All right. Probably need to do WinZip too, so I can unzip this. And the reason why you have to do all this, these are pretty generic machines. 7-zip. So I don't really have any software or anything like that on these. Okay. Get all that for Windows stuff and just do. There we go. And this is something you can do. All your computers do have internet access. So as you're watching me and everything, or once you get ready to get started, you can do this yourself. I just want to create a share so you can get the files, because if you haven't created an account yet, you're not going to be able to do this. You're not going to be able to do the databases. So once you do, you know, it's not in the directions. Once you do get ready to unzip these guys, you want to actually go in and where is he? 7-zip. Let's see. Should have installed. Let's go here. Control panel. All right. Yep, it's on there. Okay, so I should. Let me just close this and then open it back. That's weird. Let's go back here. I should be getting 7-zip to unzip this thing here, but I don't know why it's not letting me do it. That is weird. Let me look on my actual computer. Just make sure that I'm not looking at things the wrong way. Let's look at just any zip file at this point. Yeah, so this is what I should be seeing here, but I'm not seeing it.
I think there are gun zips. The zip is different type. It's a Trak zip.
Yeah, but it should still show me. I mean, it's not even showing me any type of
Oh yeah,
instruction.
okay, I see.
Yeah, I should be getting 7-zip here or something. Let's just do.
Maybe you download in the other computer. I don't know.
Yeah, that's weird. Okay, so let's just do this, and I'll figure that out while you so we can save on time. So right now, just go ahead. You should be logged into here. Go ahead and download, or if you can add a printer right now, you probably want to copy this out. And right now, just do this part here. Just practice on this part here. And I'm gonna unshare my screen and do some Windows Kung Fu real quick to try to figure out what's going on with my VM. So do this part right here first and play along with it a little bit. And hopefully by the time you're done with this part, I'll have this part figured out for you. All right, so go ahead and start on that. Let me stop my share real quick. Hmm.
Did you copy my text? You're muted right now.
On purpose.
Just want to make sure you were conscious of the time. Right now, you're still muted. You're still muted there.
Hey, I was hearing your mic. For whatever reason, my dang on controls disappeared on me.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
I think you got about 4 or 5 screens there,
Yeah.
working them all. Yeah, I just want you to be conscious of the time.
Okay, so guys, work on that, and we'll say should be almost done with that right now. So take a break around about 10:20,
Yeah.
and then we'll come back around 10:35. I am moving the files right now, so I did see a way to do it. So around about 10:35, we'll start back on the next session. So work on your profile thing
Okay.
for another
Yeah.
8 minutes, and then take a break. And make sure I keep
Yeah.
controls and stuff. I was hearing you, but I was like, the controls just disappeared on me. All
And
right.
when they get back from the break, I'll remind them again about the network exhibits. So when they come
Okay.
back, just give me a couple minutes when they come back.
All right.
All right.
Annalise. Is Annalise there? Or maybe you can help me out, Mike.
Yes. Okay.
For whatever reason, I guess it made me a participant. I'm not a moderator anymore, so it's not letting me share my screen.
Okay. Annalise, do you copy?
Mike, this is Tiffany. I'll get a hold of her.
Okay, okay.
Stand by.
fantastic.
I think since she's assigned the host, I think she has to be the one to reassign Diedrich as
Right.
the co-host. So stand by.
Right. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened.
She'll be back in a second.
All right, no problem.
Sorry for the delay, guys. The host should be back here shortly. Tiffany, were you able to contact Annalise?
I'm still working on it.
Okay, thanks.
Hey guys, I'm back. I apologize. So when Cedric, when you got logged off, it kicked you off a co-host. I
Yes.
just gave you those right.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank
Okay,
you,
we're
guys.
back.
All right, no problem.
Okay, Deidre, at this point, I think you probably would just want to let him go ahead and go on break
Yeah.
and then come back at 10:35.
Yeah, they go and go on break. I will when you guys come back, I'll give you the share link to link to basically I'm on lab one's computer, so you can get that so you can get those databases. Was able to move them over, and when you get back, I show if you want to use this particular product or whatever for your own remote utilities and everything. I show you how I did what I did. I just wanted to just do it in the background just to make sure everything moved over. So when you get back after the break, we'll go over that and then we'll move on into the CLI too. So yeah, so take a break. Like I said, 10:35, come back and then we'll continue on.
And if you want to try to make up those minutes somewhere in the break, we can do that later on today.
Yeah, we got time. We're
Okay,
fine
cool.
on time and everything because the only thing we have to do after that, we're just gonna go to CLI. That shouldn't take that long. And then I just wanted to go through setting up the simple network in GMIS 3. If that takes too long, that's fine because we can go into after lunch and everything.
Okay.
So we're doing fine.
Okay, I just got an announcement for them when they get back, just a
That's
reference.
fine.
Okay, fantastic.
All right. So I'm gonna put it in the chat. Break to 10:35 and then Mike, you could take over from there.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, Annalise.
What was that?
I was just saying thanks.
Oh, thank you.
All right. Okay. Back to you.
All right. I just sent a message out, told everybody once they get back, just to cut the camera
Turn
back on.
cameras on. Okay,
Yeah.
fantastic. And I want to make a quick update, just to remind them. Okay, looks like we got Andrew and Adam, Thomas, those three guys are back. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You got, I think everybody's back. We just need Edgar to turn on his camera. I see Kevin, I see David. There you go. There you go.
All right. So Mike got a quick announcement to make real quick before we get back started.
Right. Okay, just wanted to remind everybody to look at the email that Tiffany sent each one of you guys on Sunday. And I also sent that information to you guys yesterday about the network session and also about the vendor exhibit. Remember, the network session starts from 7 to 8 and the vendor exhibit starts from 4 to 6. And you guys should have each one of the links that goes to each one of the vendors. So if anybody don't have that information, put it in the chat for me now, and I'll send it again. But I sent it to you yesterday, and Tiffany sent it to you guys as a calendar invite on Sunday around noon. So if anybody don't have that information, put it in the chat, and I'll make sure you get it. Okay, DJ, I think we're good. I'll just watch the chat, but back to you.
All right. So had a little snafu before we had left. I did get the file over to my computer, so you all can just basically get the share. So let me bring my share my screen back again. Share. All right. So basically, just so you can see the files on the computer right now. I have it in my documents folder. And basically I have it shared. So it's basically here. What I'm gonna need you to do is just basically have to just map to this particular drive. But we'll look at that later. But I just want you to just see that it is there. Got the 3 databases in there. And what I end up having to do, because I'm on this is another network here. So so I could basically connect everything and really trying to mimic the same experience that you guys are having. I'm on a different network. So I was trying to figure out a way to move the files over so you can basically share it or connect to it, because you guys are on the same network as this computer that you're watching. So what I had to do was just, of course, come here, right click, do a file transfer. And then once it comes up, the computer that I'm trying to copy from, which is my local computer, and then I can just say, for instance, I'm not going to copy, or I can copy over, it doesn't matter. I could just right click on that and do copy, and then it'll copy it over. So you have the lab, the place that you want to copy it to, where you want to copy it from, you do copy it and then move it over. That's nothing you need for now, just for, like I said, for future reference. If you are using this particular tool here, you can move files over back and forth from your remote computer to your local computer and vice versa. So I have it whereas I've got my local computer on this side and I'm copying over to this way here. So like I said, later on, if you want to do that, that's something you could do for later. Right now, we don't necessarily need it. You just need access to these files here. So let me just delete this. I don't want it right now. Yes. All right, so it's gone. All right, so I can close this now, and you could go back to your lab computer, and we'll slow down a little bit so you can kind of see it. So now what you want to do is Open up File Explorer, of course, and you want to go to this PC, and then you want to map. Well, you can do several things. You can either map to the drive drive itself. I would say map to it so that way if I have any other shared files, you can always have it here. So the more permanent way to do it is just do map drive, put a map drive, and then here you want to put in, and let me pull it up so you can see it. Documents. Right click, properties, sharing. You want to type in this right here. I don't know how good you can see it, but what I do is let me just I'm gonna put the path inside the chat so you can see it better. I don't know how good you can see that there. Let me move my chat up so I can see it better. On my other screen, it's real small. It's hard for me to see it. So let's do lab 110 / users / admin documents / max mine databases, and just verify my things here. So lab 110 users admin documents max mine databases. Okay, so you want to map to that UNC path there. So let's go back. So that's what you want to type in here. So once you type that in, you should be able to just do finish, and you should see the drive showing up here in your when you do this PC, you should see connected drives down here. Just let me know if you don't see it, or put in the chat if you have any problems with it. So just do map drive, put in this path here. And then once you put in that path, click finish, and it should automatically connect you to that drive. Once you're inside that drive or that path, you should see these 3 files here. Like I said, let me know if you have any issues with it. And then once you are there, you can do 1 or 2 things. I would say just copy these files to a local file you can put on your desktop, or put it in downloads. Just put it somewhere locally, so that way you're not trying to get it through the network. It's fine if you do, it doesn't necessarily matter, but you can copy it to, like I said, to your desktop, and then you can start to follow the directions that you got in mapping IP address, that particular exercise. You should be able to follow through that once you get those 3 files copied over to your computer. So copy these 3 files to your computer, and then do the exercise mapping IP address. And what we'll do is, after you do that, go ahead and do the IO graph, flow graph, and the TCP graph, the TCP string graph. When you're done, just type done inside the chat. We're gonna give to about 11 o'clock, whether you're done or not, and then we're gonna start on with the CLI portion of the discussion. So basically take about next 17 minutes, work on the last 4 exercises, which is mapping an IP address, IO graph, flow graph, and TCP graph. Work on those. If you get done before 11, just put in done. If you do not finish before 11, we're just going to take a pause away from that. Like I said, these computers are live throughout the duration of this conference. You can come back in later on, maybe during lunch or after the thing if you want to practice some more on them. If you do practice on it after hours, whatever, just shoot me an email if you have any issues, if you don't get a chance to finish before 11. All right, we're gonna get started in about 5 more minutes. All right, guys. Hopefully, you was able to get through most of that. Hopefully, got through all of it. But if not, like I said, those these lab computers or like I said, I'll leave them on for duration. So if there's anything that if you did get the chance to finish, or if you just want to kind of play around a little bit more, just had you just do some basic things as far as the lab was concerned. Wasn't nothing really to get too deep into anything, but just kind of get a little bit more familiarized with where stuff at that you could change. I definitely will um, advise you that if you want to do more stuff and do other things, I would say definitely click around, see what other things, and just see how you can make Wireshark work better for you as far as your own customizations and everything. So what we're going to go into now is going to basically, that's more or less what's the GUI version as far as capturing packets and everything. But we're going to looking at the CLI version. And basically, for the most part, we're dealing with the CLI. This is pretty much the way that you're probably going to want to actually um, introduce it into your environment. You pretty much don't want to have the GUI set up just sitting on your network. And some of the main reasons why you wouldn't want that is one, because the CLI is going to be faster just because of the fact it doesn't have to deal with the GUI and everything. But also, if you want to do any type of scripts or anything like that, you can also create scripts. So just say you have multiple um, um, Wireshark, you have multiple sniffers set up. You can basically just push those scripts and not have to do it over and over and over again. So basically, for the most part, CLI is going to save you time just the same as it do. Same reason you would use a CLI for really almost any other tool will be some of the same reasons why you would do it for Wireshark and everything. So for the most part, you kind of want to look at it as dealing with Wireshark as far as dealing with the GUI. Of course, that opens up your attack vector because of the fact that you just got a bigger space, of course, more files and everything basically deal with as far as trying to hack. A little bit harder. I wouldn't say impossible as far as hacking the CLI, but just strengthens your attack surface. Um, Now, as far as dealing with the command line tools, the ones that we're really going to play with today is dump cap and not TCP, but T-Shark. And the reason why I say TCP, I'm thinking about TCP dump. TCP dump is another CLI, but it's not necessarily part of Wireshark, but it is another CLI tool that you can use if you want to capture files. And more than likely, you probably see TCP dump used more often as far as the command line is concerned. Um, as far as packet sniffers and everything that's out there. Normally, what you'll see happen is that TCP dump will be the sniffer, and they'll say the TCP dump file to somewhere in the directory, whatever. And once you create that PCAP or that capture and everything, they would basically pull that, extract that file, download the file to say your Wireshark, so you can actually look at the caption basically in Wireshark, or look at the GUI version of it. Well, dump cap is basically the same. Well, both of them basically are the same. T-Shark and dump cap is the same as TCP dump, but dump cap for the most part basically just going to be something that you'll want to use just for um, caption files. You just going to take the files, like I said, write it to a file on your disk, and that's really basically it. You're not going to necessarily use it for analysis or anything like that. So if you want something that's basically a direct alternative to TCP dump cap be more of um, a direct alternative to it. T-Shark is very similar to it, still a command line tool, but you can do some analysis with it. Like I said, majority of the time, as far as reading the captions and stuff like that, it's really best to actually look at it in Wireshark, although you can theoretically do your analysis with T-Shark. As far as other tools that you basically can use, edit cap, of course, you can detect, you can find different files where you can edit them, of course, you can remove different packets. We won't go too deep as far as that is concerned, just really for the sake of time and everything. But definitely, I would say something to look into. You want to look this for as if you got a caption that you, or we'll just say a capture file, a trace file that you want to pull packets out that you don't want, that you want to just have um, you want to shrink the file, shrink the trace that you have, you use edit cap for that. And even though I don't have the slide, I don't know what happened to it. I must thought I put it on there, but the other tool is called like it's merge cap. And I just go back up here. Merge cap basically, I could say in some ways similar to what you're doing with edit cap, but basically as the words go. Basically, it's just you can merge different captions together. Matter of fact, you can get a little bit more fancier than that. You can take multiple trace files. You can take out the information that you want in one file, take the information out that you want in another file, and then of course, as the program says, you can merge both of them together. So as far as use cases, as far as both of those are concerned, I would say if you're just trying to save space and everything, you notice a lot of information inside of your capture that you know you do not want and everything. Of course, you can use those two tools. Me personally, I kind of caution against that and everything, because especially if you're trying to do, and I'm more or less definitely talking about this along the lines of analysis, as far as security analysis, stuff like that, is you don't know what's not good. So if you mess around and you take out something out of your capture or your trace file, you may take out something that's basically important. Now, when you make these changes, of course, you will change them to another file, so you still have your original and everything. But the point I'm trying to make is that you may edit something out that you may need and everything. So as we'll see when we start looking um, at the display filters and everything, that's pretty much, in my humble opinion, as far as dealing with Wireshark. It may seem bad to get a lot of information, but depending on what you are doing, that information may be good for you in a sense. So I would say unless you're trying to do, I would say network traffic analysis, and you're trying to say look at just a certain host in your environment, then okay, I could see the purpose of you trying to edit out certain information or whatever. But as you'll see with the display filter and everything, I mean, it's kind of, for me, it's kind of a moot point. Me personally, I like to get as much as I possibly can, and then I decide what I want and don't want and everything. So, but like I said, the option is there, the feature is there. You can definitely use those two um, tools and actually kind of merge, use them as you wish. Like I said, as the both of them pretty much self-explanatory as far as what they are called. Edit cap is, of course, you want to edit your captions. Merge if you want to merge captions together, but also just remember that you can use it for editing also, where you basically take out some information and you get multiple. You can have multiple captions, and then you can just basically merge them together. Now there is a caveat as far as dealing. I'm gonna go ahead and strip this down and open up Wireshark. Now by default, as far as running your command line tools, you cannot just run them. Let's go to the command line real quick. And me personally, I just like to always just run as an administrator, especially when I know I'm just doing regular work. Definitely want to be a caution against doing that, but me, for the most part, I just like to just run as administrator, simply because of the fact when you're doing the command line, some tools that you use require you to be in the elevated prompt, and some of them do not. And me, honestly, I don't make the attempt to try to remember which commands there are that's like that. Like for instance, if you do IP config, you don't have to be in the elevator prompt to do that. But if you use IP config for flushing DNS, renew, all those things, you have to be in the elevator prompt to do that. So for me, just to kind of simplify my life in the sense, I always just open it up as a runner's administrator in the elevator prompt. So that way I don't have to try to remember that. I always just mention that and kind of do a qualified in the sense where a lot of times, of course, you advise not to do that in a sense, whereas if you run a script that's dangerous or whatever, and of course, if you're in an elevator prompt, of course, to get that particular script, get the privileges of whatever that you logged in as and everything. So, but my defense towards that is that do not download scripts that you do not trust and everything. So for me, I would say definitely probably not best practice to do this all the time, running your command prompt in the elevated prompt, running your command prompt in the elevated prompt. But for me, just to make my life easier, I just always just open my stuff up in the elevated prompt. But in order to do this, to run these tools and everything, let's just look at dump cap. And a good way to see whether or not you can run it is you could just do the command and then do a -H. And what's supposed to happen here is that you should see like a help. You should see like a help menu, all the different type of switches that you can use, syntax, so on and so forth. The reason why I'm getting this error here is because Wireshark is not in my path in my environmental variables. And basically, if you go, there's several ways you can do this. Just go here and let's go to my control panel. Let's go to system, and let's go to advanced settings. Now you could have just, of course, typed in settings to get here also, advanced settings to get here also, but Wireshark needs to be in my path here. And if I double click here, you'll see that Wireshark is not in my path. So as far as my computer is concerned, it does not know what dump cap is, because they don't know what path to basically go to or use to actually open up that particular command. Now, in order to do this, and if I move too fast, don't worry about it. It's going to be in the lab that you're about to do. So let's go ahead and cancel this here. And I'll go ahead and close this too. So what you want to do is you want to go to help, and then you want to go to about Wireshark. And then you want to go to folders. Remember, I was talking about yesterday, that's going to be one important place for you in a sense, whereas you want to see where your stuff actually goes. A lot of times when you create different traces, stuff like that, not Microsoft, but Wireshark would default your files to a certain place. So by default, these are the places. If it's saving a file, it's going to save it here. If it's a temp file, it's going to save it there, so on and so forth. So for us, we just want all the programs that's basically in Wireshark. So what you can do is that you can go here and then you can do copy, which should basically copy this path here. And then what you want to do, and I'm gonna just do it the right way this time. I'm gonna do advanced. System settings. There we go. Let's go here. And then you'll go to environment variables. And then you want to do it on the system variables. You can do it for your user, but that just means that's going to be for you only when you logged in as admin. For lab purposes, that's the only account that we're logging in anyway. So for us, it doesn't matter which one you put it in. But as far as production is concerned, and if you want multiple users or multiple profiles to come in and not have to redo this, you could just come in and just put it down here. So what you want to do is you want to do edit, not there, my bad, path, and then you want to do edit, and then you want to come to new, and then you just want to paste that path that we did earlier. So you got Wireshark there, and then you click OK, and then OK, and then you can pretty much just get rid of this too. So you can click OK again. We're going to go back to the CMD. Administrator. And this time we should get the syntax and everything that we're looking for. Okay, so we're going to do dump cap again. Do a -H. And we should get it. So now once you do this, now you have to do this. The path has to be there, whether you're doing dump cap or you're doing T-sharp. Now the good thing is that once you do it, you don't have to do it for each one. So for the other command line tools, once it's there, you should be fine. So for instance, we could do the same thing with T-sharp. If you do -H, should be able to get that tool. If you do edit cap, do -H, should be able to get that tool. And if we do merge cap, Should be able to get that too. All right, so basically, and all this is doing, and especially when you're learning or trying to do different command lines, same as pretty much, the command line tool, you can do the help file and it can kind of show you the syntax and everything like that. Different switches that you can use. You can see that for each one of your tools that you're going to use. So just to do a quick demo as far as we're dealing with dump cap. Like I said, if I'm moving a little too fast, don't worry about it. You're gonna do your lab. We're gonna pretty much have these same steps that I'm going through right now. Didn't go that far up. Okay. All right, so let's go down. So we're gonna do dump cap first. And like I said, dump cap for the most part really is going to just capture files for you and everything. So the first thing that you have to do is that when you do dump cap, the first thing that you want to see is what interface you're going to basically do your capture on. So you're going to do dump cap, and you're going to do -D. And what that's going to do is show you the interfaces that you have. For us, and in a good way, if you want to make sure, you just want to see that it's basically the same thing. We know that Ethernet 0 is the one that we want to do our capture on, or you could basically do 1. So once you have that, then you pretty much can, for the most part, get started. So you could do, well, another thing that you want to do before you do your dump. Now, right now, if I run my dump and everything, it's going to save it in the System32 folder. I don't necessarily want it to go there. So what I want to do is that I could do CD. CD. And let's just do C. Yeah, so that should be enough. All I need. Nope. Wrong way. Okay, and then I can just do MD, and I just say captures for. Oh, not ND. MD, and just say captures. So I can just create that folder and just do CD and just do captures. And so that put me in the directory that I basically want to be in. So now when I do my capture and everything, that's going to put me in the folder. That's going to put it so I can more easily find my actual file. Now, for the most part, if you don't do that, then you just have to know what directory you actually creating your file at. So what I would do after I have that, what I would do is that I could just do dump cap, and then I'm gonna do the I switch for interface. So let's use the I for, and then after that, I choose the number. Now you can do the number, or you can do the name. Just of course, I'm gonna take the lazy route and just do number. So this is gonna run the program. I'm gonna run a program on this particular interface. Now you can do -A for duration. If you look up at your, I should have did the help file. Let me do the help real quick so we can kind of see things real quick. I don't have to scroll all the way up there. So let's do this. Let's do CLS, and let's do dump cap H. All right, so we saw, so A, let's go up a little bit. So all the way up. So interface, just want you to see it. We saw the interfaces. Where's my A? Where's my A? Not that one. There we go. So basically auto stop. So you basically tell it to when you want to stop. If you don't choose the -A, then you have to do Control-C to basically stop it. So depending on what you're trying to do, if you're just trying to do a quick check, you want to do a -A, which we're going to do a -A. But if you just want it to just run, then you don't have to do the -A. You just let it run and just sniff all the packets and stuff. So we're going to do dump cap again. And we're going to do a -I for my interface. And we're going to use 1. We're going to do a -A for duration. So you got to put in your argument. So we're going to do it just for, say, a minute. We don't want it to go too long. This does it in seconds. So you're going to do 60 seconds. So you want to do a minute. You go by the 60 seconds. You want to be longer than that, you can put however way you want. Matter of fact, we don't even need 60. We'll do 30. Just want to create a file. And then basically what you'll do is you do a -W that basically will create a file and everything. So you create the file. So basically, what is the name of the file and what's the format is going to be. So I'll just say test, and then we'll do pcap ng for our file name. So basically, what this is going to do is run dump cap on. We're going to basically caption my caption package from interface 1, which we saw from earlier. I want it to only run for a specified period of time. In my particular case, I'm doing it for 30 seconds, and I wanted to run it to, or I wanted to create a file called test png. And basically, since I'm running this command in this directory, it's going to basically put it there. Now, if you don't do this, it's going to put it in the default, which basically going to put it in what we was looking at here earlier. Which, let me go back to help. Let's go to about, and let's go to folders. So for the most part, nope. Looking at my pcaps. No. These are what's called, but it'll be some. More likely, it's going to be here. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. So if you don't name it, you don't give it any name. You just run it. It's going to put it here. If I name it and I'm in the right directory, it's going to put me where I want to be at. So for instance, here, just to look at this. So the way that I have this written is going to put it in this. It's going to write it and copy it to this directory here. If I don't put anything, if I don't do the W switch here, it's just going to save it here. So it's going to be all of this here local temp, and then it's going to put a Wireshark something file. It's going to be like a long little bunch of numbers, and going to be a bunch of numbers, and for this was the year, the month, the date, the hour, the minute, the second type of file and everything. So just to kind of say, do yourself a favor, make it easier for you to know what type of capture that you have, and then make it easier for you to basically find it. You basically use this syntax here. And if I'm not mistaken, yes, it does. It gives you an example right here. So you can do dump cap here. In this particular case, it went with the name. This is just an example. This more or less, if you want to say majority of the time you see this type of thing, it is majority of the time it's a Linux machine, but you can use this. You can go with name or number. Then A, that's said I want to go for amount of time. Then you put just the duration, how amount of time that you want to go, but just remember this is in seconds. And then I want to write it to a file. So I have to do that. Then just click down here. And then, I don't know why sometimes you have to, there we go. So I can let it run for like 30 seconds. And like I said, after 30 seconds, it'll stop on its own. But if you want to stop it before the 30, whatever amount of time that you give, you can just do Control-C. If you don't do the duration, then you have to do Control-C for it to stop, or just keep running and running. Now you may want that. I mean, depending on what you're trying to do, but you just want to make sure you think along the lines of, for the most part, storage. If you want it to basically keep running, just continuously to the point where if you need to go check capture and so on and so forth, you could basically be able to do that. So basically, once it's finished, it just tell you how many packets that it basically got. It's giving you the syntax here, and then basically 100% of it. So from there, I can go to my C drive, and I should see my captures folder, and I should see my PCAP here. So let me just close Wireshark real quick. And what you can do is you just double click on this, and it should open Wireshark up for you, and it'll show you the stuff that you basically captured during that time. Now, this pretty much for the most part is probably a better way to do your capture. Like I say, you probably don't want to have the GUI running on a computer somewhere. You'll run dump cap or whatever. Save it to a directory somewhere that you can get to it. I would say you can save it to somewhere on your network. You can save it to that particular computer. Doesn't necessarily matter where you put it. Just make sure you know where you have it going to. And then once you do that, you can actually just double click on it and open Wireshark up for you. All right. All right. So as far as that is concerned, everybody follow along just fine with me. As far as that is concerned, kind of see what I did there. And like I said, this will be your your next lab. You're going to go through the same steps that I just did and everything. So if I lost you anywhere and everything like that, you'll be able to go through this again. All right. So you have that. Now the next one, we're just going to do T-Shark real quick and everything. Now T-Shark pretty much going to run pretty much the same syntax. For the most part, in your directions, I'm going to have you go back to at least look at the getting everything back in your path and everything. You don't have to redo all of that stuff again. You can pretty much just stay in this here, and then you can just go to T-Shark. Pretty much keep most of the same syntax. All right, so pretty much everything will basically be the same here. But there's another thing that you can do with T-Shark, or you can do it basically with saving your files all together. It's basically what they call it, like a ring buffer. And with a ring buffer, what you could do with those is that instead of saving your capture to one file, what you can do is save it over multiple files. Now, like I said, that's still more of a thing of preference and everything as far as you want to chop it up for whatever reason and everything. You can basically do that. You may have to merge it back together later on and everything, but just for you can see that that's an actual option for you. You can do that. And I messed up. I should have showed you all the so let me back this out. And so you can see the help file for T-Shark. All right, so you can kind of see basically if you look at it when you kind of studying over and everything, you can kind of see pretty much the same switches. You're still going to use the D to see what interface. We're not going to run that again because we know one is the one we want. I is still basically something that you can use as far as getting your interface. And just making sure we got the A. The A, you can still do the A as far as your auto duration. Now the thing that we don't use the switch we're going to use in here is we're going to use the B switch to do our buffer size. So in this, with the buffer size, I can choose how big I want the file to be for my capture. So for instance, I only want to be, we'll use the same example they got here. I only want to be 2 megs. Then I'll put in the size for basically 2 megs. And what it would do is it'll keep running and basically it'll create your capture in 2 meg increments. So after 2 megs, basically it'll stop and it'll start another file and so on and so forth. You also can even say how many files you want to create. So I say I only want 2 meg files, but I only want you to just give me just 2 files. I mean, you can say 2 or just say 4 files. So what it would do is it'll create, say, a 2 meg file, and then when it's ready to go over 2 megs, it'll create another file. And after that one go over 2 megs, it'll go over another file. And then once you get to your buffer or to the ring that you want to go, how many files you want to go, say for instance 4, it'll basically create a 5th file, but number 1 will basically disappear. So basically the first file that's created will basically get kicked out. So all the stuff on that particular file will basically, for the most part, be gone. Now, your use case as far as that is concerned is that you just trying to capture files and you're not worrying about if you whatever information you may lose in that other file. Now, like I said before, me and keeping to me, I want to see everything. I don't want to make the decision of getting rid of something because that's something that I got rid of, maybe something that I need later on. But like I said, this going to be dependent on you. It's going to be on what you're trying to do and your particular purpose. But just for you to see that in action and what that basically will look like, let me just go back down to the bottom. And this will be another command line tool that you actually would do. So let's do this. And I'm just going to go back to like I did before. And I'm going to change this to T#. So T#. All right, so you're going to still use the same interface one we had earlier. I'm going to take the duration out of this one here so you can see the fact that when you stop with Control C. So I'm going to take this out. And this time I'm going to use the B switch. And basically, I'm going to give it a file size. So file size. And then I'm going to do my colon. And then I'm going to give it a value. So basically, I'm going to just let this be just say 1 meg. And this right here, file size, it take it by kilobits and everything. So around about 124 is about 1 meg. Maybe off as far as you do the math and everything on, maybe a little bit more, a little bit less. No, normally with the math, it's gonna be a little bit less, but around about a meg for that. Just remember that as far as file size, the number you put in there, that is by kilobit. So right now I'm seeing my file size, I want to be really 1 kilobit, or not 1 kilobit, 1 meg. I want to be 1024 kilobits. And then if you want to dictate how many files that it basically create, what you want to do is you want to do another B switch, and then you're going to put just files. And then in my case, I'm going to just say 4. So basically what this is going to do, and then I want my buffer, I want my files to be named, we'll just say test2. Oh, not right now, my bad. We'll say test2. So what this is going to do is, and I have an example for you in your lab. What it's going to do is it's going to create me a file called test2 underscore whichever number the file is. So it'd be test2 underscore 001. And then it'll give me the date, date, which would be 2020, 10, what's today, 26, so on and so forth. And then it'll give me the month, date, hour, minute, second. That'll be the format that it's going to give me here. So just to go over it, running the T# command on interface 1, I'm going to do a buffer, ring buffer. I want the file size to be 1 meg, roundabout. I only want to create 4 1 meg files. So basically, once I get to 5, file 1 is going to disappear, and then it's just I just see 2. So however many files come in after 4, those files basically going to disappear. So if I get 2 extra files, 1 and 2 is going to basically disappear. And then of course it's going to write it. So it's just going to copy this file name here over and over again, but it's going to pin the dates and stuff to it. So we're going to go here. All right, and everything should look fine. We'll click enter. So it's capturing. So now, like I said, because I didn't do an auto duration, it's going to just run. So I'm going to let it run for a little bit just to make sure I create multiple files. And if you want it to stop, you have to do Control C in order for it to stop. So I just want to make sure to create at least 5 files so you can kind of see what I'm talking about here. All right, that should be big enough. Matter of fact, I can kind of see. Let me go here. Let's do a refresh. Yep, still haven't. So I really learned so far. I only created one. So far as was what I did. But as you can see, 1 kilobit. I did that wrong. So it's by bytes. I told you wrong. It wasn't meg. It's what comes. So it's doing it by bytes. So I did 1 kilobyte. So it'll keep going until that's probably, I should have made it something smaller. But basically what it's going to keep doing, there we go. So it did do it. So I was right. So it's 1 meg. So it did buy, so it wasn't exactly 1024, but pretty close and everything. So just think, what a kilobyte is basically, 1,000 kilobytes is basically a meg. So I did say it right the first time. So it's going to keep going until I get 4 files. And then once I get that 4th file, it's basically one is gonna disappear, and then 2 will be at the top. Everything. So we'll let that run through. Seem to be picking up a little bit more now. So while we're waiting, anybody have any questions or anything like that? None. Okay, so we got our 3rd. So we'll let it run some more. So okay, the 4th one. So you'll see when 5 comes up, one would disappear. And like I said, depending on your use case, this may be fine, but just know that once this disappears, then you're only dealing with the files that you have in here in 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, and 4. So let's see what we got. Should be pretty close. There we go. So you see how 1 disappeared? Now you got 2, 3, and 5. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop that. So we go here and just all you do is just do a Control C, and it should stop it. So that's basically it. So then of course from there you do just like you did with the when you did just test. You could just double click on it, and then you can go to your trace. Now another way you can open up a trace, you can go to File, and then you can go to Open. And then it took me directly where I wanted to go to. But if it doesn't do that, then of course you just got to navigate to the files that you want to open. You just go there and open. So now I should have 4. So thing is, like I said, the caveat to this is just realize that when that first or the whatever files leave out of your buffer or your ring buffer, you basically lose that. And like I said, in your situation, you might not care about that. My personal preference, I wouldn't necessarily do that. I wouldn't do amount of files. I do the ring buffer as far as the sizes that I want and everything, but I won't necessarily do the amount of files that I want because of the fact that I don't want to miss out on any information. All right, so that takes us to about 11:37. So we're going to do, we're going to, because we're almost about to lunch, go ahead and start on lab 2 and everything. I think lunch is right at 12. Mike, do you have anything that you want to let them know about before they hit the lunch?
No, I think you're doing great. Right now, um, want to make sure that everybody do have those links for the exhibitor session from 4 to 6. It should be each individual link for all of the vendors for today, Monday, and you should have a separate link for all of the vendors on Tuesday. So I think you guys have that. Uh, your session looks like it goes from now to 11:45, but if you want to break at 12, that's fine.
Yes. So what we're going to do is, because we can pretty much, because this will pretty much run right into lunch. So what I want you to do is of course, go back to Moodle. The link should be still in your chat, but if it's not, let me just copy it again. Right click, copy, paste. So you can go back to Moodle. And once you go into Moodle, just go ahead and click on Lab 2. That should open up your document from there and just go through that particular exercise. Pretty much going to redo what we just did, but at the bottom, just just go through and look at your files and just see the similarities. Is you're not capturing any other traffic or capturing any different. It's going to look very similar to you catching or capturing the traffic straight through the Google. After that, then like I said, you can just go right into your lunch and everything, and then we'll meet back here around 12:55. We'll meet back at 12:55 and give you kind of a little chance to catch the bearings, and then we'll get back started at 1 o'clock. Everything. So anybody have any questions? I'm gonna stay on right now until 12. So if you have any questions, I run into a problem, stay on to 12 and everything. But at 12, you just go ahead and go into lunch. And like I said, we'll meet back up here around 12:45, and then we'll get started back at 1. All right.
Thank you, there.
Yep. You had some, Edgar?
Well, thank you. Thank you for.
Oh, okay.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Okay, Dietrich, I just sent the users that list again, and I'll put it in the chat.
Just did what down?
I just sent them that list of all the exhibits and all of the network sessions,
Okay.
and I'll put that in the chat.
Okay.
Who's over at 2:30? Yeah, how about dinner start? Dinner starts at okay. Okay, that's fine. So 2:30 to 5:30. Nothing. Okay.
All right, Dietrich,
Yeah.
when I do the dump cap and I use the D switch, it says that I'm capturing on local area connection 6, which is not the interface that's actually doing, it's not my Ethernet.
So do you bring up Wireshark to see which ones that it was capturing the information on?
Yeah, I did that. But when I
Okay.
use this, I thought when I use the switch, it's supposed to
Yeah.
show me all available interfaces.
Okay, so you
not.
did dump cap space dash capital D.
No, lowercase d,
It gotta be capital.
capital D, and that'll show everything. All right,
Yeah.
okay,
Mhm.
thanks.
Okay.
So Dietrich.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm looking. Let me see. I'm not seeing the environment variables.
Type in advanced system settings in the search.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Just go to the search box and just type it in. And you should see that in your options. Yeah. And then once you click on that, that should take you should see environment variables at the bottom.
Got you. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. I was looking in the wrong place. Okay. Thank you.
No
Thank
problem.
you. All right.
All right, once you're done with the labs, you can go ahead and go on to lunch. Like I said, we'll meet back up here at 12:55 and everything. So once you're done, you can cut your camera off, leave it on as Brent said, and go about your business. But I'm gonna cut mine off. I'm sorry, Brent. I'm gonna not follow your directions if you can hear me. And walk off and everything. But definitely, if you do cut your camera off, make sure you just cut it back on when we get back, so that way I know that you're back.
So DG, it looks like Adam, David, and Kevin may still be in the lab. Their cameras are on, so looks like they haven't break for lunch yet.
Okay.
Amazon and Facebook taking over the world.
Yeah, that's true. I know that Google and Amazon are working on some biometrics.
All right, guys, I'm gonna break out for lunch real quick. I'll be back and everything, but definitely if you have any question or whatever, just post it in the chat. I'll address it when I step back. everything. Definitely with me. I'll meet back here at 12:55.
Okay, I'm gonna break for lunch too, DJ.
All right.
Annalise, did you copy that?
Yes, I did. Thank
Okay.
you. I'll see you guys then.
Okay, thanks.